Fantasy Professionals. Again, welcome to the Fantasy Professionals. I'm Cody Askins, and my co-host Dallas Keithley. We're from Secure Insurance Group. Thank you guys for tuning in. Dallas, how about that first show?
That was pretty nice. That was awesome. They let us come back.
They did. That was an awesome first show. Thank you guys again for allowing us to have such a great show and getting involved, especially on Facebook.
Facebook absolutely blew up last week, but we're going to do it even bigger this week.
We are. We've actually got something in store for you for Facebook. Everyone is on Facebook Live. They're looking at me live right now on Facebook.
Looking good.
We are going to have a couple of trivia questions throughout our show, and we're going to have one on Facebook Live for our Facebook Live listeners. We're going to have a trivia question. And what's the details on that? What do they have to do to win that trivia question once you post it?
Very simple. In order to win a gift certificate, we're going to give away another gift certificate to Alicia Rinke's Scissor Hands.
Yeah. Hey, I got my hair cut by her. If you're looking at us on Facebook Live, she cut my hair yesterday, and it still looks incredible.
Absolutely. So if you want to win a gift certificate to Scissor Hands, all you have to do is, number one, you have to like our page, the Fantasy Professionals on Facebook. Number two, you have to share the video that you're currently watching. Number three, you have to be the first one to answer the impossible trivia question. And we say it's impossible because it's pretty hard.
It's a tough one. Is it Googleable?
I don't think so.
I don't know if it's Googleable at all. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
We have got to trademark the word Googleable.
Yeah, that's our word now.
It's ours. So what they have to do, again, they have to like our page. They have to share the video and then answer the question correctly. We've done everything we could. Now it's a challenge to some people. They're going to try to Google it. But we've done everything we can. If they don't get it, if we go through most of the show and people have not get it, I've got
he don't believe in you guys.
I've got some options here.
Yeah, they're going to get it.
Multiple choice.
Yeah, we do have some multiple choice lined up in case it's too hard and about 30, 45 minutes in, no one's got it. Again, the rules for that. Like our Fantasy Professionals page. You can watch us live on Facebook right now, The Fantasy Professionals. Share the live video stream that I'm looking at right now while I'm sitting in the Jock 987 studio, and be the first one to answer the question correctly. Dallas, the nice thing about Facebook is it actually dates all the comments, and we can see who commented live, who commented later. They got different colors for different comments on live streams, and so we'll know who was first.
Even old people like myself can figure it out. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We've got some exciting things we want to talk about. We've even got a special guest host later in the show, and I believe the first thing we want to talk about that has been just blowing up on all media, especially in our office, is the NBA free agency.
Absolutely. A big article I just read. Mitch Sanderson, who, by the way, should we tell him?
Yeah.
Mitch Sanderson wrote a couple of articles that we're going to use today. He will be on the show in the third segment.
Who's Mitch Sanderson? Tell everybody who he is.
Mitch Sanderson is an NFL editor for The Score, which is
thescore.com. Yeah,
that's all I use.
I use their apps constantly. I mean, I use their app for everything, for looking up for live scores, stats, to see how my fantasy team is dominating the rest of the league.
Yeah, and it won't lie to you, but yeah. Mitch Sanderson will be on the show later. In an article, though, he wrote that Von Miller has made an announcement. It says here, Von Miller
of the Denver Broncos
is still in contract negotiations for a long-term deal with the Denver Broncos. But after seeing Kevin Durant sign with the Golden State Warriors, he wants to join the super team too.
Well, can you blame him?
Absolutely not. Charles Barkley ought to be giving him a call.
Yeah.
We could sign up Gary Payton.
Bird's talking about coming out of retirement.
Yeah, one more. He needs one more.
Yeah.
Karl Malone. We could get them all on there. But
that was funny. He put that on Instagram. He put a picture on Instagram and a post on Instagram how Von Miller of the Denver Broncos put himself a picture of him with a Golden State Warriors jersey on. That was cool.
It does go on to say that by his own admission, Miller wouldn't actually be much use on the court. He says, "I can't play basketball worth,"
which is surprising.
You would think
he's an athlete.
He said people actually show up to watch him because they know how bad he is.
That's funny because he's one of the best defensive players in the NFL.
Which brings me to my next question. Would you make fun of Von Miller? You know, I mean, I might show up and watch. I might put it on YouTube.
As long as it wasn't to his face.
Yeah, I would have to have a pretty good head start. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But no, we did ask this week. We asked you guys what you thought when the signing went down. We asked you what you thought about the signing. We told you that some of the comments may be read on air. We had a couple comments, a couple that I see. You know, it's all in perspective. It really
absolutely
is. I'm looking here on Facebook. Let's see. Adam Dawson wrote on here. He said it's awesome. They'll be unstoppable next year. And
they should be.
I can't disagree with him.
Who's going to shoot the ball?
That's
How many balls are they going to play with?
Yeah, they'll only be allowed to play with one ball. Now, when it comes to fantasy, though, which is what we're talking about, Jack Marvin actually said for fantasy players, it will lower the value of all Golden State players involved. And only one ball to go around.
Well, it's got to lower it. I don't know if Curry still gets his shots or not. I mean, I would think he does just because of the player he is, and he's the point guard. He's the one with the ball.
Yeah.
But everyone's numbers fantasy-wise are going to go down without a doubt. They can't go up unless they score 200 and they shoot too much.
The only thing, if you look at offensive leaders, I looked up the fantasy reports for last year. Number 1, Steph Curry. Number 2, James Harden. And, of course, number 3 is Kevin Durant. Yeah. Can you guess who number 4 was? This surprised me. I wouldn't have got this probably within 5 guesses.
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. Big Boogie.
It doesn't help me.
DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus
Okay.
Cousins, and I only know it because of Kentucky.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have got that. But you've got the top 2 scorers or top 3, 2 of the top 3.
Number
on
1.
the same
Curry
team.
was number 1 last year in points per game.
And then
Durant was number 3 last year.
Klay Thompson isn't afraid to shoot the ball either.
No.
And they're talking about Ray Allen coming to the team.
Didn't he sign?
I don't know. I saw one, but I couldn't find anything to back it up.
I can't keep up with all the Warriors and all the free agency.
But I mean, what do you think? Is that a good signing, Ray Allen, to come to him?
Well, it's a good signing for Ray.
It's a good signing for Ray. Come in, earn the league minimum, get yourself another ring.
Oh man, that's too funny.
The thing is, my big question is, if this show would have been on Monday, I would have destroyed Kevin Durant.
I'm glad it wasn't.
When I saw this, I thought this is absolutely horrible. It's horrible for the NBA. It's horrible for everyone involved. I'm of a different mindset. Now, you and I are from 2 totally different generations.
Absolutely.
I am a 90s kid. I graduated in 1996. I was in the era of the Bulls. I don't know why, I was a big Charlotte Hornets fan. I love Grandma, Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, Alonzo Mourning, Del Curry, Kendall Gill, all those guys. I had those all over my room. But I loved watching 90s basketball.
Well, and you and a lot of other people.
If I'm being honest, I can't stand watching the NBA today. So me commenting is almost unfair.
Because you just like the way it's played. You just like everything about it. I
really do.
We're going to continue NBA in 1 second. We've got a caller. Looks like Andy is on the line with some questions about our Facebook live stream. Andy, are you there?
I am.
What can we help you with Facebook?
Well, I was trying to find it. Is it Fantasy Professionals?
It's The Fantasy Professionals.
Oh, that's why.
The Fantasy Professionals. Thank you for the Facebook shout-out. That was nice of you.
Yeah, that was nice. We didn't even pay him to do that. That was pretty nice. Absolutely.
Hey, thank you very much for listening. Be sure to follow us live. We got a trivia question again on Facebook Live.
I've never done Facebook Live. How do you do that?
Well, we're sitting here on a live stream in the studio. People, you can actually look at us. You can see what Dallas looks like. You may regret it.
Sorry about that.
But you can.
This is the best I can do.
And then we'll have a trivia question that we're going to put out. We may have already put it out.
We've put it out. We've already got 2 answers.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, they're incorrect.
That's quick. Wow. Well, check us out on Facebook, The Fantasy Professionals. Thank you very much, Andy. I appreciate you joining the show and asking questions. Thanks, sir.
Absolutely. We were talking about, I read an article here that was put out by a gentleman named Patrick Britton. Katie's father actually told him, and this all comes back to image for me. Katie's father actually told him, you've got to think of yourself. You've got to be selfish. And, the article states that for once in his life, this is Durant's dad talking. He says, for once in his life, be selfish and think about yourself. Pratt told Mark J. Spears. The only thing I tell him, and it's hard for him to do that because he's not. That's not in his personality. But sometimes in your growth as a man, you have to be selfish and make decisions that are based on him and his future family. Now, the thing about it is, my dad never came to me and told me, Dallas, you have to be more selfish.
Well,
I don't know if your dad ever did that either.
No, he didn't. Yeah, he definitely didn't. I mean, Durant's personality strikes me as a humble, nice guy
He is.
that is looking at the best interest of others, and he has upset some people over this decision. And would it be better for his legacy to stay in Oklahoma City and win the championship? No question about it.
Yeah.
He's joining the team that won a year ago, should have won this past year. They were up 3-1. His own team should have beat them, and Oklahoma City was up on Golden State 3-1 and
3-1.
should have won.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another article that came out this week when it has to do with Durant's image. Durant released his K9 shoes either today or yesterday. I was trying to figure it out, but it came out.
I remember saying that.
It said that in the story, when they released, and of course he had a press release and all that. One of the reporters, lost the words there, came out and asked him. He said, "Listen, last year your shoes were $88. You know, the K, I guess they were K8s because these are K9s. I don't know. But last year your shoes were $88. This year they're $150." And he asked him. He said, "Why is that?" And the quote from Kevin Durant was, "I'm not an $88 player."
I think that sends the wrong message.
I think
completely.
it's the wrong time.
I think that's. What do you guys think? Comment on Facebook about that. I mean, seriously, I just think that sends the wrong message all around.
And in preparation for the show, you and I were talking about how we may have only heard a portion of the interview.
Well, you got to think of Allen Iverson back in the day. Practice. We're talking about practice. That famous interview about Allen Iverson talking about practice. Well, you know what? That was actually taken the wrong way, and he didn't mean that he didn't believe in practice or that he didn't need to practice. We all took it that way because of the clip. Mm-hmm. Maybe the similar situation here.
Who knows? But, you know, Kevin Durant, like you said before, has always been his main knock on him in the past has been he's too weak.
Yeah.
He's
a softer type player. He's not a LeBron physical specimen.
He's a graceful player. I think is a great way to put it.
7 foot.
7 foot graceful. I'm 5'9" and not graceful. But the thing about Kevin Durant is he's now just totally the whole pendulum effect. He's went from here and he's over here. He is now the villain.
Oh yeah.
And you know, there's got to be a thing in the middle. Let me ask you something. Like I said, you and I are from different generations. I want to ask you a couple questions. Number one, I went back and looked at Jordan's record, and I know people get tired of guys my age talking about Jordan.
Right.
We're going to keep talking about Jordan. I apologize. But
Dallas is a big Jordan. And, you know, what's not to love about Jordan?
Ultimate competitor. Did he do some things wrong? Probably. Did he do some things that I wouldn't have done? Maybe. But, man, what a guy. But let me get to here. 1989, 1990, they played the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Game 7. And the Detroit Pistons beat the Chicago Bulls. It was like 93-74, and I'm not looking at the thing, but if I remember correctly, it was a pretty good margin.
Fuel for Jordan and the Bulls moving forward.
Absolutely. So they beat him in Game 7. What if Michael Jordan would have come out the next week and said,
"I see where this is going,"
and said, "I've decided to take my talents to Detroit."
Yeah.
Even if he goes on to win 10 titles in Detroit, we don't look at him the same today.
No,
as
that
we
would
do
have
now.
been the sports world would have erupted even more than they have here.
Absolutely.
I think fans are more used to that. It's still a competitive generation.
It is.
But that grit and that competitiveness and that I'm going to do whatever I can to win doesn't feel like it's there at times. I mean, it really doesn't.
Absolutely. We've got to take a break. When we come back, we are going to we're going to ask a trivia question. We're also going to talk a little bit more about some NBA. Wade to the Bulls. The Knicks.
We still got some fancy NBA topics coming up, and we've got Mitch Sanderson later on from Score.com. Again, you're listening to the Fantasy Professionals.
Another strong finish by Phelps.
For the first time ever.
And it's a Gabby goal.
The spirit of the Olympic Games comes to life.
Usain Bolt still the king of 100.
In one of the world's most dazzling cities, Rio. The one event that unites the world. The 2016 Olympic Games from Rio. Beginning August 5th on NBC.
The biggest event in MMA history is finally here. UFC 200 goes down Saturday. Heavyweight superstar Brock Lesnar returns against Mark Hunt and 3 UFC title fights. Daniel Cormier and John Jones unify the light heavyweight belt. Plus Edgar versus Aldo and Tate versus Nunes. UFC 200. It's time. See it Saturday, only on pay-per-view. Card subject to change.
This afternoon, severe thunderstorms, which could bring torrential downpours, large hail, and damaging wind gusts. Otherwise, clouds and sun, high 89. Damaging thunderstorms continue into Friday night, cloudy and humid, low 71. Mostly cloudy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm Saturday and Sunday, high tomorrow 83 and 86 on Sunday. I'm AccuWeather's Chuck Ellis.
At Jock 98.7, it's 78 degrees.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Professionals. I'm your host, Cody Askins, sitting here with Dallas Keithley from Secure Insurance Group. And we want to tell you about one of the best painters we know.
Absolutely.
JBG Painting, Mr. Jake Gillette. Really cool guy. Huge fantasy fan, huge sports fan. He's an Eagles fan, not a Cowboys fan. If you have a painting need, commercial or residential, call Jake Gillette today. Please do. Call him on 825-4919. Again, that's 825-4919. He even said he would do something for the people that called him and used him for painting, some kind of discount or a promo code. What was he going to do for them, Dallas?
15% off. Anybody that mentioned they saw us or they heard him.
Heard or saw, either way. Yeah.
On the Fantasy Professionals.
Very good. Okay, again, any painting needs, please call Jake Gillette from JBG Painting, 825-4919. Great dude. Awesome painting staff. They painted our whole office in a couple of days. We've got an almost 5,000 square foot office there at Secure Insurance Group. Really nice crew. Again, called Jake Gillette, JBG Painting.
Absolutely. And it's time to do a trivia question. We're going to have you call in and answer a trivia question for us. This trivia question is brought to you by On the Ball Sports. On the Ball Sports, they've got 2 locations, the Battlefield Mall and the Branson Landing. Their phone number is 417-881-0576. You can also find them on Facebook, On the Ball Sports. On the Ball Sports, everything you need there. More college teams than I've ever seen. You can go there, like I said last week, and get a Boise State hat if that is what floats your boat. Over 140 teams represented.
That just blows my mind. They have represent that many teams.
Absolutely. 140 teams represented. And we have a trivia question for you here. I'll go ahead and read it. Here it is. When was the first recognized fantasy football game? What year? We won't make you guess the day and the month, but what year was the first recognized fantasy football game?
Hey, be sure to call in. We've got some choices for you. 868-6100. Again, call 868-6100 or 1-800-869-5927 to win a gift certificate to On the Ball Sports.
$25 to On the Ball Sports. Now, Cody, while we're waiting on some callers, we were talking last segment about the NBA. We were talking about everything that's going on. A lot of other moves going on. And you know, you kind of feel bad for Dwayne Wade. You kind of feel bad for Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah. They're kind of any other year, this is huge news. But we're not talking about them.
Our phones are blowing up. We're fixing to take a call. But, I mean, I'm excited to get to some Dwayne Wade and some Bulls talk because I think they are extremely underrated. No one's even talking about them. We're talking about the Knicks. I love the move. I really do.
We're going to disagree on that. Finally,
we are.
Our first controversy. All right, we have Jake on the line. Jake, you ready for the question and some choices, or you just got it right off the bat?
Well, I'll take the choices, but I think I don't know it, but I'm going to take a guess. I'll be honest.
Okay. When was the first recognized fantasy football game? A, 1972. B, 1963. C, 1984, and D, 1995.
Well, I promise I had 1995 in my head, so I'm going to go with 1995. Sorry.
Oh,
that's incorrect. I apologize. That is incorrect. Thank you for calling.
Thank you very much for calling in.
We've got Jeremy on the line. Jeremy wants to give it a shot.
I'm going to go with 1984.
1984 is also incorrect.
Oh. Very sorry, Jeremy. Thank you very much
Thanks
for the call,
calling.
sir.
Thanks for listening. So we've got 2 of them gone. Again, they guessed 1995 and 1984.
What other 2 options are available?
We have got 1972 or 1963.
We're making it easy on you guys. Only 2 guesses left. Someone's fixing to win On the Ball Sports Trivia.
Before Cody jumps in, no, I was not at the first fantasy game. And so...
well, with the 2 choices left, were you even born?
No.
I was fixing to say, I think that's...
I was not. I had to do some math.
He had to think about it. He was
did.
using his toes for a
I
second.
did. I thought I had to take off the shoes. Absolutely.
We have Andy that just called in. Andy, what's your guess, sir?
I was going to guess 1998.
Well, 1998.
I didn't hear you real good there.
We'll give you the choices.
Let me give you the choices again.
When was the first recognized fantasy football game? It's either 1972 or 1963. Those are the 2 options left.
1972.
1972 is incorrect.
Oh.
Incorrect. So
Dallas is making these too hard. Thank you very much, Andy. Hopefully you'll call in next week.
Thank you again for listening. If somebody wants to come in and step up to the plate and slam dunk a touchdown, there's one option left.
You need to patent or trademark that phrase.
Yeah. It's probably already been done, but I could try again. I probably owe
Step
somebody
to the
money
plate
for
and slam dunk a touchdown. That's
Absolutely.
Dallas's go-to move, go-to phrase.
I think that's his nice way of saying I say it too much.
Has anybody got our anybody got our trivia on Facebook right yet? We're waiting on some more calls for the On the Ball Sports. There's 1 choice left. When was the first recognized fantasy football game? And we got a few callers coming in now, and it may be from our Facebook live stream. I hope you guys are listening, calling in, and getting your piece of the action.
We've got Chris on the line. Chris, can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what do you think?
What was it? 19...
We've got 1972, which has been guessed. We've got 1963. We've got 1984, and we've got 1995.
And the second one's the only one that hasn't been guessed yet.
1963.
Hey,
ding,
Chris,
ding, ding!
That is some astute fantasy football knowledge right there, brother.
Wow, very nice.
Congratulations. You got a $25 gift certificate to On the Ball Sports. You can use that on the Branson Landing or in the Battlefield Mall. Hold on the line. Dwayne's going to get a little bit more information from you. Thank you for listening to us, brother.
You still there?
Yes, we're still here.
All right, sorry.
That's all right.
No worries. Thanks again, and congratulations on winning the On the Ball Sports for $25.
Dwayne's going to get some more information. Stay on the line. All right, Cody, as we were saying before the break, you and I disagree. You think the Knicks are going to come out and just take over the Eastern Conference?
The who?
The Knicks.
No, not the Knicks.
The Bulls?
I think the Bulls could. I think the Bulls have a better chance than the Knicks. I'll surprise people by going out on a limb. It's, what is it, July the 8th?
July
at
the
3:24 and 57 seconds. And Cody is going to go out on a limb and say that the Bulls, with Rajon Rondo, Dwayne Wade, and Jimmy Butler, win the East.
Win the East.
Next year.
Wow. That is
That's a bold prediction.
I will say that would be surprising.
Well,
did you watch Rajon Rondo with the Dallas Mavericks?
Well, yeah. Rajon Rondo is he's a character.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could almost say cancer too. As long as the good thing is with this team is it's Jimmy Butler's team number 1. Jimmy Butler's is a complete stud, extremely underrated. No one talks about Jimmy Butler, but he was one of the top scorers of the year, and he averaged over 20.9 points a game or something like that.
And Rondo even came out and said last week that this is Jimmy Butler's team.
Well, I think Rondo's just saying that just to be politically correct, knowing Rondo.
Yeah.
And there could be some things, but the nice thing is Dwayne Wade, because of all the championships he's won, because of his tenure, and because of his experience, I think he'll be the leader of that team, which is exactly what they'll need. And those 3 players are still 3 of the best players in the NBA.
They are amazing players. I think Dwayne Wade, I think that ship sailed. I think he's a little
at
bit
times
old.
it seems that
and
way.
maybe that's what Rondo needs, is a guy that's won a championship, a guy that will
multiple.
I think he'll stand up and tell him to have a seat, if he needs to.
Oh, he will.
Let me ask you this though: were you surprised at Dwayne Wade going to the Bulls? Were you surprised that he left the Heat?
Nah, he was going home, and I was a little surprised. I was a
Whose
little
fault was
surprised, but well, I mean, as much as he's done for the city, and I get, hey, you got to look forward, you got to pay it forward, you got to pay attention to the future. I get all that, but as much as he's done for that city, and as big of an ambassador as he's been,
that's true.
How do you not pay the man what he's worth?
They offered him
and keep him 2 years, $40 million.
Well, first they offered him $10 million. He came in, he
really?
said he wanted $50 million. They offered him 10. Is that not? I mean, I understand you lowball people. You always start out low, but when you lowball them too much, you're almost calling them an idiot.
Well, and then I heard that Pat Riley didn't even call him, and I heard that some feathers were ruffled and feelings were hurt a little bit, and that people, maybe the organization didn't treat him like he thought he should have been treated.
But then you got it. Pat Riley is a businessman.
He is.
He saw what the Lakers did with Kobe, and the Lakers are going to be behind the 8 ball for a little while because they gave up a lot of money to Kobe, and he doesn't want to see that happen in Miami.
They definitely paid him for what he had done and not what Kobe was doing, other than the last game where he went out in style, but with 50,
the last game,
50 shots.
50-some shots, yeah. We've talked about that before as well. Absolutely.
Hey, thank you guys again for looking on Facebook, watching on Facebook. We're getting a ton of comments on Facebook. Again, we have a trivia question right now on Facebook. All you have to do is like our page, share the live video stream, and get the answer right. The question was posted, how long? I mean, you posted at the beginning of the show, didn't you?
Yeah, beginning of the show, about 30 minutes ago. We haven't got anything right. And we did have a question. Can they guess more than once? Absolutely.
Yeah, guess as much as you want. As long as you like the Fantasy Professionals page and you share the live video stream, and we can see both of those after the show to make sure you did. And as long as you're the first one to get it right, as long as you did those other two things and got the question right, you're eligible. So it doesn't matter how many times you guess.
Absolutely. We're coming up on a break. We want to tell you guys about First National Bank. First National Bank, we were excited to have them come on to sponsor the show. They're over there at 4108 South National. They also have 2 branches in Clinton, Missouri. 417-823-9600. The biggest thing I can say for them, they're my bank. They know my name when I walk in. Fraud protection like nobody else. I got a call. I was sitting in my office one morning. I got a call. It was from one of the tellers there at First National Bank. She said, "Dallas, where are you at right now?" And I said, "I'm in my office." She said, "Well, so you're not in the Dominican in a casino?" I said, "No, ma'am." And so they stopped that. It was taken care of. I didn't have to do anything. They handled it immediately. No money was taken out of my account. It's nice to know that they handle it personally like that.
What's wild is they know Dallas by his every time we go in there. They know Dallas by his they call him by his first name. He calls them by their first names. They give his kids candy. They call his kids by first name. It's just a local, really homey feel. I mean, it's really cool.
Absolutely. First National Bank, again, that's 417-823-9600. Go in there, see Angie, see Natasha, see Aaron. They'll hook you up. They'll do banking like it's supposed to be done, the local way, with professionalism. So.
Yeah, exactly. We've got some exciting topics to come. Mitch Sanderson, the NFL editor with Score.com, is going to be here in a few minutes. Again, thank you very much for listening to the Fantasy Professionals. Be right back.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
Hold everything for less. The Pack Store Save event is going on now at the Home Depot, and the shelves are full of smart storage solutions. Start with durable 27-gallon storage totes for just $8.97. They're made of heavy-duty resin to hold up to 400 pounds. At that price, you should get a few extra just to hold the money you'll save. Come get organized at the Pack Store Save event going on now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through July 13th, U.S. only.
This is Reba Sims with Talking Women's Sports. We're on the Jock 98.7, and I hope you'll listen in. Next week, we're going to have Paul Nahan and John DeJager from the Lasers. They're going to be talking about their season. It's going to be shortened. It's just a few weeks, but they're going to be starting the end of July, and I hope you'll listen in. That's Talking Women's Sports.
It is so easy to give back.
I don't have a lot of money to help people, but I do have something. I have time.
Get up and do something. Just imagine how strong a society we could be.
Every one of us has a role to play in making our communities and our country stronger. Discover yours. Help us continue to make a difference in the life of our nation. Go to serve.gov and find the opportunity that works for you. And this message is brought to you by the Corporation for National and Community Service.
A severe thunderstorm this afternoon that could bring torrential downpours, large hail, and damaging wind gusts. Otherwise humid with clouds and sun, high 89. Tonight, thunderstorms continue. Cloudy and humid, low 71. Mostly cloudy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm both Saturday and Sunday. High Saturday 83, Sunday 86. I'm AccuWeather's Chuck Ellis.
At Jock 98.7, it's 79 degrees.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Professionals. We're your hosts, Cody Askins and Dallas Keithley from Secure Insurance Group. People are commenting on Facebook like crazy.
They are. We haven't got a correct answer, though. We've had Isaac Bruce. We've had Tim Brown. We've had Peyton Manning. Again, I believe the question, reread the question. I'm not going to give the question over the air. You got to go to Facebook Fantasy Live.
That's right.
Or the Fantasy Professionals live on Facebook and find out the answer.
We got something special right now, don't we?
Absolutely. We actually have. I was reading an article this week. It's called Breakout or Fake Out. Was Devontae Freeman's sophomore season a fluke? And that's something you and I love to talk about. We actually have with us Mitch Sanderson. He is a NFL editor, an NFL writer, an NFL editor for The Score. And we talked earlier about how you and I use The Score all the time.
I use The Score, the app, The Score, for all NFL games, stats, track my fantasy success, all those things.
So for our first guest on the Fantasy Professionals, Mitch Sanderson. Mitch, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing today?
We are doing phenomenal.
Very well. Thank you very much for joining us today.
We're sitting here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're sitting here talking fantasy football. We can't think of anything else we'd rather be doing.
Yeah, me neither.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Mitch, tell everybody where you're at, what you do, where you're from. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I work at The Score. We operate in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm originally from East Coast of Canada, a small town called St. John, New Brunswick. I've been loving football. I grew up playing in high school and just kind of took to the sport a lot and kind of found some skills at fantasy football. I love watching. I love, sometimes the off season, all the fantasy, all the movement comes more exciting than the football itself to me. And now I've kind of worked my way up, and I got a job here at The Score. Like you guys said, you guys use the app all the time. It's a great app. I was using it before I started working here too. So I'm excited to be working here and then talking to you guys as well.
Absolutely, and we appreciate you coming on. Now, Devontae Freeman, I think we would all agree that he was probably the biggest breakout. Coleman, I believe it was, went down with an injury.
Yeah, Tevin Coleman in the beginning of the year.
And he comes on, rushes for over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, an amazing year. Now, going through the article, you kind of give some reasons why it wasn't a fluke. Then you give some reasons why it was a fluke. If we had to hold you down, fluke or not a fluke?
I think it was a bit of a fluke. I don't want to say fluke all the way like he's, it was all artificial, but I think he had probably the best scenario possible last year with Coleman going down, with the limited other options on offense, and quite frankly, he had first 6 or 7 weeks there. Other teams couldn't seem to figure out the Falcons, including Freeman.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to have Julio Jones out there, does it either?
No, I think he took a lot of attention away, especially the way how well he performed in Week 1 last year. I think he really kind of stole the show, and a lot of defensive coordinators trying to figure out how to stop him, and they forgot about Freeman out of the backfield.
Absolutely.
For several weeks, I don't remember how many weeks, but for several weeks, he just lit it up. I mean, he slowed down towards the end of the year, but he was on fire, man.
Yeah, I think he had 6 touchdowns through 2 weeks in weeks 4 and 5, around there.
I would like to say I saw it coming, and I had him on my team. But
no, the Pigskin Warriors, my buddy Brandon Kaka had him on his team, and he ended up trading him for like half of another guy's team at a decent time in the year.
Katka would love for us to say that he won the league, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, he did win the league. Well done, Catman. Hey, what inspired you to write this article?
Well, we have this kind of at The Score. It was actually written by myself and another writer here. I kind of argued the fake out side, and he argued the breakout side. Just a little series we just kind of started in the last week, looking at some players. Just from some guys, I think we did Doug Baldwin as well already, and we have some other guys going to wind up. Just some guys that kind of broke out last year that were were they for real or not? We want to go through. Freeman for me was, I think, all along, he just seemed to have that perfect scenario where he got so many carries, so many touches, so many looks after, a pretty subpar rookie season, to be quite honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
extremely subpar, yeah.
Let me ask you this. I read an article, it's been some time back, that talked about how you never go for the hot hand, or you never, the following season, you never pick up the player that just went off. And the main reason is because these guys, these defensive coaches, are going to be studying film all summer. And so they're going to figure out a way to stop him. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I think he should hopefully he's also figuring out some ways to adjust his game as well, because I think, as you mentioned, through the second half of last season, I think defensive coordinators already caught up to what he was doing.
Right.
But absolutely, I would agree with that stance that guys that have breakout seasons, guys like David Johnson last year who broke out late in the season, defensive coordinators are going to have, they had a whole off season to get adjusted to players like that.
Exactly. Some of the best football minds in the world they'll figure it out. Hey, do you think Tevin Coleman, coming back from injury towards the end of the year, stung a little?
Yeah, he struggled a little. He had the game, though, that Freeman didn't play and that Coleman did. He did quite well. And I think, that's a rookie. I think he was a third rounder as well. He wasn't expected to play that much. But he struggled a little bit, but I think that was, for someone who started off the rookie season with an injury, I think that was kind of expected. And now that he's had a full off season, he's been with the team, been around the group, he should come into training camp kind of looking to fight for playing time with Devonta Freeman.
Yeah, especially since he had the job before he got hurt.
Yeah, I think last year Freeman was hurt. He got hurt late in training camp as well, so there was a lot of kind of unknown with the running back position early in the season with the Falcons, and especially where Freeman didn't show a lot the year before. It was really tough for defensive coordinators to know what to expect out of their backfield.
Absolutely, absolutely. We want to do something with you here. We'd kind of like to go over just a few of the top 10 players, and from what they did last year, whether you think they should move up, whether you think they should go down, or whether they're about where they need to be for this year.
And we're talking about top 10 fantasy performers of wide receivers and running backs of last year, right?
Yeah, maybe absolutely. Just wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends. Number one, of course, Antonio Brown. Absolutely blew it up. I love this guy. 5'9", doesn't care. It makes me ashamed of myself. I'm about 5'9", and I'm. I
think he may be. I think he may be a tad taller than 5'9", but he's
he's
not a Calvin Johnson. You just really pumped him up then.
Absolutely.
What's your thoughts on Antonio Brown this year?
I think Antonio Brown, I think there's a lot of hype behind Antonio Brown right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be the number one receiver again. I've seen a lot of mock drafts and rankings putting him as a number one. Personally, I'm still leaning towards taking a running back like Le'Veon Bell number one. But I in terms of wide receiver ranking, I think he's going to stay right at the top. And, if you wanted to take him with your first overall pick in your draft, I can't really blame you for doing that. It's just a personal preference.
Number 2, we got Julio. What do you think about Julio?
I think Julio's going to have another good season. I think, he kind of the whole Falcons team kind of struggled midway through last season, like we were talking about with Freeman. But now that Sanu is there, and I think that offense is a little more complete, he won't see as much double and sometimes triple coverage he got last year. So I think he's again he's going to be right there with Brown, but I think his numbers are going to go up this year.
Absolutely. So you think he could actually go up?
I think I think he can start off the same way he did last year, and continue that if Sanu can take away some of those targets or some of that coverage.
Absolutely.
I think that offense has improved from where it was last year, and Julio Jones can only you can throw him 20 balls a game if you want, but you won't be able to catch those if there's 3 guys on him all the time.
Absolutely.
Do you think there's still a 1-2 wide receiver punch this year? Brown and Julio.
I think I think it's close. I think DeAndre Hopkins. It's hard to ignore him. And
Gosh,
Odell
he's a
Beckham.
freak of an athlete.
Those 4 guys. I think it's going to depend on how healthy their teams and can stay, what their schedules are like. But personally, I really love DeAndre Hopkins. I kind of predicted his breakout last year at the time, and I kind of cashed in on that. So, but yeah, those guys. I think Brown was having playing with Roethlisberger in that system, and Julio Jones with Matt Ryan kind of has an advantage over a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. But yeah, I think it would be safe. Those are your safest picks. Is 1-for-1-2 would be Brown and Jones.
Well, let me ask you this then: with Hopkins, quarterback situation was, to put it lightly, subpar there last year. What do you think the quarterback situation is going to look like this year? They made some moves.
Yeah, I think, well, one thing that's going to improve for sure is I really can't see O'Brien and the Texans giving a quick hook to Brock Osweiler. I don't know if Brock Osweiler is – I think he's better – personally, I think he's better than what they had last year, but I don't know – we haven't seen enough of him really, I don't think, to know what he is totally, but just having some consistency at the very least, plus bringing in drafting Braxton Miller and Will Fuller, that takes some coverage away. I've heard a lot of good things about Jalen Strong this offseason. So I think that his situation has definitely improved. Last year, he was essentially carrying that offense on his back, which is amazing for any wide receiver to do.
Absolutely.
But I think his situation improved quite a bit.
And watching last year with Osweiler, to me, if you want to write a book on how not to bring in a rookie quarterback, I think the Denver Broncos did it last year. You got to either give him the reins or tell him to wait till next year. And I know injuries had stuff to do with that and all that, but it just that had to hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, I think absolutely. The way he left there, he felt hurt, I think, by the way that they just kind of disrespected him the whole time he was there, even up until this offseason when they waited for Peyton Manning to make – they waited for Peyton Manning to make a retirement decision before getting into contract talks with Osweiler, and I think that was just the last straw of, he's a pretty good quarterback. He's had a great apprenticeship. He's, I think, the tallest quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, how tall is he? What, 6'7"?
I think he's about 6'7", yeah. So there's a lot of good things there, and the Broncos didn't really seem to appreciate any of them. So I can totally see why he went on to Houston. They wanted him. They gave him the big contract, and they have a pretty good offense, a pretty good quarterback guru in Bill O'Brien. I think that's I can totally see why Osweiler made that decision.
Absolutely.
It seems like a really good decision on his end. I mean, it really does. I think that
it's tough to leave the Super Bowl champion, but
right.
I think when you weren't really part of that Super Bowl championship, it's a little easier.
Exactly.
And I think you're going to look at a totally different team this year as far as the Denver Broncos. They're Super Bowl champions, but boy, what a different team. Let me ask you about one more guy. And this one surprised me. We were sitting there prepping for the show yesterday, and I asked Cody, I said, hey, who was the number 4 overall fantasy performer last year? And he didn't get it in 5 guesses. Can you?
And I'm a big fan of this guy, too.
Off the top of your head, can you tell me who it was? And we're talking running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends.
According to ESPN as well.
The number 4.
Standard scoring, right?
Yep, standard scoring.
Oh, that's a good one. Maybe
just putting you on the spot.
Adrian Peterson?
No, he's
5th.
He's 5th. You're close. Mr. Brandon Marshall, which really surprised me.
Wow.
What, did he have 14 touchdowns?
He did. He had 14 touchdowns. He tied with all the other running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, 14 touchdowns. Had a phenomenal year. And where do you see him going? Of course, I know it all right now. It's a little bit early to tell. Who knows who's going to be throwing him the ball and all that. So,
I think you got to take him down a notch. I don't think he's going to be that number 4. That it's just surprising to hear even after knowing the season that he had. I don't know what's going to go on with the Jets. I tend to believe Ryan Fitzpatrick a little bit when he says that he's willing to sit out. I think he's had a long career and he's never really been paid a lot of money to play quarterback, and he wants that. He feels like he's earned that. So I think that's going to be really tough. I don't like Geno Smith running that offense. I think it's going to be a lot of running, to be quite honest. A lot of short passes, and I like what Marshall does. He's one of the most consistent players in the league, especially at receiver. He's still got that big body, and he's always been able to use his body. He doesn't have to rely on his speed. But I can't see him finishing as the number 4 scoring wide receiver, tight end, running back again.
No, and to read a bit of his story, he is he's an awesome what he's been able to overcome and do and become a great wide receiver. Every year I think he's going to be a head case. He's going to blow up and blow the season, but every year he comes out and performs.
He's one of my favorite receivers in the league. I mean, he's playing for the Jets. His average draft position last year is probably 6th to 8th round. I mean, he's in the 25 to 35 wide receiver range start the year, and to finish that well, he's just a uber talent. That was a huge surprise.
I think especially I think he gelled really, really well with Fitzpatrick. If they can sign Fitzpatrick back, and I'm wrong about that, I think that would be, there's lots of reason to really like Brandon Marshall. Like, Fitzpatrick is exceptionally good in the red zone, and so is Marshall, and that's what that offense is built for. So if Fitzpatrick's back in the loop, expect another good year for Marshall, especially he's got his buddy Matt Forte in the backfield there. I think Forte could be one of those, I don't know what to think because he's a 30-year-old running back now, but he can do a lot of things in the pass game, in the run game, to help alleviate some of that attention to Brandon Marshall.
I hope so.
Well, Mitch, you have certainly set the bar high for any future guest. We cannot thank you enough, sir.
First ever guest on the Fantasy Professionals, Mitch Sanderson, the NFL editor with The Score. If you don't have the app, The Score, I use it every day for fantasy, NFL, NBA, doesn't matter. Thank you very much, Mitch, for joining the show.
Oh, appreciate it very much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Good luck this season. Thanks very much for the articles.
All right, thank you.
That was fun, man. Mitch is you can tell Mitch was a fantasy enthusiast, highly intelligent individual. That was awesome. First ever guest on the Fantasy Professionals, Mitch Sanderson, NFL editor with The Score. I want to talk real quick about 417 Lighting Specialist, a good buddy of mine, Jeremy Johnson. They are a lighting and electrical service provider here in our local area. They're actually expanding to St. Louis soon, I believe, as business is booming for them. They're a local LED and electrical service provider. Call Jeremy Johnson today for your lighting and electrical needs. Whether it's residential, commercial, doesn't matter. Call Jeremy Johnson at 417 Lighting Specialist, 655-1283. Again, 655-1283. Call Jeremy Johnson for any lighting or electrical need. Call Jeremy Johnson from 417 Lighting Specialist. Again, that number is 655-1283. We'll be right back. We're fixing to put up some Facebook options so that you can have some guesses, because I don't think we got a guess right yet. Again, follow the Fantasy Professionals on Facebook, like our page, share our live stream, and get the answer correctly. You're listening to the Fantasy Professionals. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Wayne Glenn. Cherry Tree Homes. Mike Davis brings you simply a better way to build. Cherry Tree Homes. While others build a house, Mike Davis will build you a home. Land, home, financing available all in one place. www.cherrytreehomes.net. Mike Davis from Home Matters brings you a one-stop place for building the home of your dreams. You pick where you want to live, your school district, pick your home plan, and the financing is all lined up. www.cherrytreehomes.net, www.cherrytreehomes.net.
Gentlemen, start your engines. Race over to jock987.com to play the Village Inn Jock 98.7 Fantasy Racing Challenge. Win great weekly prizes like delicious Village Inn pies and a grand prize trip for two to the 2017 Daytona 500. That's the Fantasy Racing Challenge at jock987.com. Brought to you by Village Inn locations in Springfield, Ozark, and Republic. But no need to race in. Breakfast is served all day.
Tennis fans, the Springfield Lasers and World Team Tennis are back for their 21st action-packed season, July 31st through August 13th. Your hometown Lasers take to the court for 6 evening matches at the Cooper Tennis Complex. See players from Wimbledon and the French Open right here in Springfield, including 6'10" Lasers player John Isner, the #1 American male. Come see world-class professional tennis at its best with the Springfield Lasers. Tickets start at just $10. Call now 837-5800 or visit springfieldlasers.com.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Professionals. I'm your host, Cody Askins, sitting here with Dallas Keithley. We're both of Secure Insurance Group. We just got on the phone with Mitch Sanderson, the NFL editor with The Score. That was a great call.
That was. He did a great job. That was a good time. I enjoyed it. All right, guys, I'm getting ready to put up the Facebook options. And we are going to give you guys a couple options here. A couple of these have been guessed. So if you've been paying attention, follow in the comments, then you may know what exactly might give you a clue to who it is.
Yeah, we're going to put up some guesses on. We're going to put up four, 5, 6, whatever you want to put. We're going to give you some choices. The first one, to like the Fantasy Professionals page on Facebook, The Fantasy Professionals, and share this stream, and then get the question right. So the first person to get this question right, and we're about to put some choices. I'm going to give you a little heads up, little head start, 60 seconds, something like that. Go to Facebook, The Fantasy Professionals. Click on our live video. The first person to get this question right. It is live. He just put the choices. What's the question again, Dallas?
The question, well, they got to go to Facebook Live to see the
Oh,
question.
that's right.
The
Fantasy Professionals.
You almost got me there. That was close. Guys, we want to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Rolando Papagayo. He's over at 640 West Republic Road, Suite 124. His phone number, 883-8448. Again, that is Dr. Rolando Papagayo. You can find him on the web at www.drpapagayo.com. Dr. Papagayo has been in the Springfield area for quite some time. He is my dentist. I will never go to anyone else ever again. He's not allowed to retire until I'm at least
Good thing he's young.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got
Young
one
guy.
of the cleanest offices I've ever seen. So clean, so nice. They've got actually some of the best technology. They had some new X-ray machine that didn't even have. It was like wireless and stuff. But it was like some really cool machine that was able to scan my whole mouth. I've never seen it before, and I've always been going to the dentist.
Yeah, Cody actually wanted those pictures for Facebook. But yeah. Dr. Papagayo, Dr. Rolando Papagayo, again, his number is 883-8448. Give him a call today. Cody, it's time for another trivia question.
Okay.
We're giving away a lot of stuff.
We are.
We're going to give Eldon a run for his money.
This trivia question is brought to you by Scissorhands. Go see Alicia. Get your haircut. Scissorhands. She is over there in Sola Salons, just off of by Walmart on the south side, Independence Street.
Independence, there you
That's
go.
right.
There you go. Over by Kohl's, Walmart. Yep.
She is. She's on Facebook as Scissorhands. You've got to look her up. Got to go see her. This trivia question: since 1963, which running back has scored the most fantasy points in a single game? Since 1963, call in 868-6800. I'm sorry, 868-6100, 868-6100. Since 1963, which running back has scored the most fantasy points in a single game? Clinton Portis, Sean Alexander, Gail Sayers, or Corey Dillon?
And I will tell them you got this wrong. I don't know why I like doing that. I just
you love him. He loves making fun of me. I actually thought I was going to be right. This is the year threw me off a little, but it's since 1963. Which running back, NFL running back, has scored the most fantasy points in a single game? Call in 868-6100, 868-6100, or 1-800-869-5927. 868-6100, 868-6100.
We were talking before the break there with Mitch Sanderson at the Score. Again, thank you, Mitch, for coming on.
Yeah.
About the top 10 players. Cody, there's one other player that kind of surprised me. I didn't think he would be in the top 10. That's a Mr. Doug Martin. What do you think he's going to do this year?
That's kind of surprising. He's so up and down. I think he's a talent. He's just on a bad team. Well, the team's getting better. They're getting some talent. But
Jameis Winston did prove me wrong.
I think he's got to move down. There's no way he stays in the top 10. Looks like we've got a trivia question caller that we're going to go to in 1 second. Looks like we have George on the line. George, are you there, sir?
Yes, sir.
You may repeat the question one more time?
No. I'm going to say Gail Sayers.
You are right. Ding, ding, ding. Calling in and getting it right on the first guess. Excellent job, George. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You just won a free haircut, compliments of Alicia with Scissorhands. Again, congratulations. Thanks for calling in. Please stay on the phone, and Dwayne will get your information so you can swing by the Jock 98.7 studio and pick up your prize. Thank you very much for joining the show, George.
Thanks.
A couple things that I thought of while Mitch was talking. He talked about one thing Devontae Freeman surprised me, and I always try to stay away from sophomores because, like we said before earlier in the show, they have a chance. NFL defensive coordinators have a chance to watch that rookie season.
It's just not
and stop them.
It's not a good time to blow up for whatever reason. It's just really not. I think he's got to move down.
Well, you got Todd Gurley coming up this year. He's going to be a sophomore.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? That's going to be interesting to see, as good as he was for several weeks. Hey, we've got do we have anyone that's got the Facebook question right? again, on Facebook, The Fantasy Professionals. We got about a minute and a half. See if we got any. While Dallas is checking, we want to tell a little bit about ourselves. Again, Cody Askins and Dallas Keithley. We're with Secure Insurance Group. We shop everything. We're brokers. We shop through about 69, 70 different companies for auto, home, life, Medicare, long-term care, disability, critical illness. Doesn't matter. If you have insurance and you'd like to shop, like to talk to two fantasy enthusiasts, a couple of local guys, just let us shop. Hey, if we cannot beat or put you in a better situation, we will tell you. So please, it'd be awesome if you could call our office, 883-9300. We're over there by the Meyer Center behind Nona's Restaurant on Culpeper Circle, 883-9300. Any Facebook winners? We may have to announce it off the air. So if you're not on, check us out, The Fantasy Professionals on Facebook. Go to The Fantasy Professionals on Facebook. We're shooting we got a live video stream. Like our page, The Fantasy Professionals. Share the live video stream that I'm looking at right now with all the people that are watching us and get the question right. We gave some guesses, so you've got a chance to actually get this question 100% right. Any final thoughts before we close out another amazing show? Thank you guys very much for watching, listening.
Again, just, every Friday I wake up and I'm amazed that I get to come do this. I enjoy it. I love it. Thank you again to our sponsors. JBG Painting, we've got 417 Lighting, Dr. Papagayo, First National Bank, Scissor Hands, On the Ball Sports.
Yeah.
Great sponsors. They've been a joy to work with. Thank you guys again for listening. Without you guys, we'd just be two guys sitting in a booth talking about fantasy sports, which we would do.
Absolutely. Again, you're listening to Fantasy Professionals on Jock 98.7. Thanks for tuning in and have an awesome weekend.
Is known for tan lines, traffic lines, even lines for the ice cream truck. But this summer, there's the home equity line of credit. With Arvest Bank's summer sale, you can remodel, take a trip, consolidate debt, or anything else you want to do. Plus, you can save an additional 0.25% when you sign up for auto debit from your Arvest account. Visit arvest.com/summer to learn more. Arvest Bank, Equal Housing Lender. Offer expires August 1st, 2016.
Join the Radio Springfield Travel Club on July 16th when we'll see the magic and comedy of Taylor Reed at the Jim Stafford Theater, have dinner at the Red Barn Cafe and Hen House Bakery on the Strip, and end the evening at the #1 show in Branson, the Haygoods. Bring your kids or grandchildren for a fun day of comedy and music. The cost for both shows and dinner is just $65. Call 862-3751 to reserve your seat, 862-3751, or click on the travel tab at radiospringfield.com for more information.
A severe thunderstorm this afternoon that could bring torrential downpours, large hail, and damaging wind gusts. Otherwise humid with clouds and sun, high 89. Tonight, thunderstorms continue. Cloudy and humid, low 71. Mostly cloudy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm both Saturday and Sunday. High Saturday 83, Sunday 86. I'm AccuWeather's Chuck Ellis.
At Jock 98.7, it's 79.